Hi, welcome to the DIY Photo Organising podcast, focusing on topics to help you with your photo management. I'm Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. Hello, hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, Happy New Year.
Yeah, likewise. Back from summer holiday. It was
I
good.
know,
Yeah.
Fabulous. Lots of photos, I'm sure. Take lots of photos?
Oh, yes. I was good though.
Were you?
Last week we were away for a whole week and I came home with, I think over 400 photos.
Yeah.
I got down to 140.
Fantastic.
Isn't that good?
That is great. I can one up on that. Okay, so we went away as a family to Queensland, came back 88. Well, actually, they were my favourites. So you probably have beat me on this one. I didn't cull all of the others, but I had around about 400 as well.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Good.
Must be the magic number over holidays.
Apparently. And it didn't hurt. I was really proud that I got them down to 140.
So great.
I could still have deleted more, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, who needs so many beach photos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
it's good.
I know. It's so satisfying when you finally do, you just finish it off. And it's so much easier when you do it right at that time.
Yes.
So much better.
Yeah. I don't think it took me not even 2 hours.
That's
after
fabulous.
That 1 week and culling and then
good.
do all the metadata renaming and all that, sharing them online. It's all done.
Well done.
Yes.
I'm not quite that organised. I did get the video done though.
Yeah, you did an awesome video.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
you people out there, you should see that.
It was great. It was good fun.
But we'll do that another day. Talk
Yes.
about videos and the fun ways you can share photos.
Exactly.
Today we're actually winding back, sort of thing.
Yes.
We're going back to the very start of our podcast with golden rule number 1, which
Very
was
important one. Backing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very exciting topic,
Back up.
right?
No, boring. No, we are revisiting, but it's so worth it. And I think we were talking about so many different topics we could talk about, but we thought being the start of a new year, it's a great time to just do a bit of housekeeping.
That's right.
Yeah. So come along on this journey with us. We'd love to have you follow us with some backing up tips for today. All right. So jumping right in, Chantal.
So, yeah.
Where do you start?
Where do we start with backing up? Yeah, it can be quite a complex topic.
Yeah.
It's not always as simple as it might look like at first sight,
Yeah.
but we're going to try to not confuse you even more.
That's it.
But to offer a few solutions. And we're not going to go into much technical details today because we have a whole episode obviously about our golden rule number 1. But we sort of, just revisit it and, talk about the most important things again. And one of the questions is, why do we even back up in the first place? And it might sound obvious. We don't want to lose photos. Clearly, nobody wants to lose photos. But it happens, unfortunately, all the time.
Yeah.
And it can happen for a whole lot of different reasons. But one actually is that technology fails. So we need a really good strategy to make sure that we don't suffer from photo loss, even if tech fails us.
Yeah, exactly. And it is unfortunately common. It is. And so we have some solutions.
We have.
We do. We have a plan for you guys and ourselves. We're in this as well. So when we're talking today, we are talking about our photos. That may mean your whole computer, depending on which option you use. But primarily, we are talking about our photos here. So we just want to make that clear. just also bear in mind that if you're listening for the first time, you've just recently found us, you may not have done a backup before of any of your photos. So we're talking about a hub and a whole range of different things, for the backup. But this might be your very first time. You may not have a hub, for your photos or anything like that. So there's a few variables here, but we'll step you through the process and make sure that we've covered off everything to help you through. So just bear in mind, this might just be your phone or it might be your whole computer. But we are going to jump into our principle in the backup, which is what we call the 3, 2, 1 backup process. System. What is it? Is it a system?
Yeah,
it's a backup.
A method.
Best practice.
Yeah, best practice. That's the word. Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1 stands for 3 copies of your photos. And they are spread across 2 different types of devices. One of those copies is off-site,
right,
away from your regular residence home. So that's what we mean by 3, 2, 1. So it sounds very simple, really. Three copies, 2 different types of devices, and one of them being off-site somewhere else. So what's your first step with your with the 3, 2, 1 that we want to jump into to teach with three copies? What do we mean by 3 copies?
Right, yeah, that's a good question, because it can sound a bit confusing with copies. The way I apply this method is the 3 copies. So the copy number 1 is my original.
Yep.
And in my personal case, that would be the photo that sits on my computer in my photo hub. That's what I consider as a master or original file, or however you want to call that.
Yep.
That's copy number 1. And then the second copy is a backup copy, and the third copy is also a backup copy, but in my case, I keep that in the cloud because that is considered away from home.
Perfect.
So it doesn't have to be complicated. Yeah,
exactly. And we're going to go through a range of other variables and how that might look. So for me, I've got my 3 copies. I have a hub also. So that is my copy number 1, and that is actually on an external hard drive. And then I have a copy number 2, and that is also on an external hard drive, a separate, different external hard drive. That's then my second copy, which is a backup. And I also then have a cloud version of that exact same data, and that is my third copy.
There you go.
I actually have another copy as well because I have a NAS, but that's just that's another. I was just going to say you could actually have lots of copies, but we do not encourage that process because that's where you can get into into a lot of different issues.
Unless you want to work with us.
Yes.
Personally, we're happy to help you to clean out that mess. But this is why a lot of clients end up with us.
Yeah.
They do backup copies, and it's not labeled properly, and in the end nobody remembers what was what. Yeah. And it can be really messy.
Yeah, it's true. So the other episodes that we would refer you to have a listen to is because we do go into a lot of detail. One of the things I want to really make as a point is the difference between synchronizing and backing up. And we won't go into all of that detail, but just remember if you're listening here, just remember that backing up is a one-way street. So this is where you take a copy of those photos and put them somewhere else. It just goes one way. It doesn't constantly sync back and forward with a device. And that would be what we call a two-way street. So this is a backup. A true backup is something which it goes one way and then it stays there until you do a fresh backup.
Yes.
of that, which we would be suggesting is either it could be monthly, but really it's as frequently as you need to, depending on how recently you've gone through a whole big, like it might be after the week that you've had, and you've got new photos. So
That's right, yeah. Usually I would do that on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Every month I add new photos to the hub and I curate them. But yeah, as you said, after a special event or a holiday or a weekend away or something where you took more photos than usual, I like to do that straight away and not let it build up.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that we thought was important is just to also be able to look at the backup. And we just really encourage you, if you have done a backup before, fantastic. Kudos to you guys. That is brilliant. And then what I would suggest you do is have a look at the backup. Just go into the file if you're using an online backup system. Just, log in to that service provider and actually look at the file and then go and see if you can download a photo. So it's just something that we sort of, maybe not, if we're not tech savvy enough, we might just think, well, I'll just click these buttons, set these settings and hope for the best. Which, believe me, is better than nothing.
Yes, yeah.
But we would really encourage you just to take that next step and just make sure you know how to retrieve a photo if you need to.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's sort of like your, smoke alarm or something like that you should check on a regular basis.
Yeah.
To at least once a year make sure that your backups do work the way they're supposed to be working.
Yep.
And maybe also review your strategy. We talked about the 3-2-1, and that can be different options.
Yep.
Like you said before, in your case, you've got the hub on an external drive, the backup on external, and then the cloud. I've got the internal hard drive, backup on an external drive, and the cloud, but you could also choose 2 cloud services.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be an external drive. A lot of people are a bit scared for using external drives because they have lost them. Or not lost as in, can't find them anymore, but they broke, they got damaged and they died and they had experienced data loss because of that. And that's common because they've got a shelf life of, what did they say, 3 to 5?
I would be conservative with 2 to 3, but 3, 4 years.
So they need to be replaced. You can get more out of them. I've got drives that are older, but as soon as you hear like clicking noises or they get really hot or the fan sounds weird or something, it's probably time to get a new one. And
it's so easy to do when you have backups already elsewhere. You just get your original hub, and if it's the original hub that is the one that's failing, just go and grab your other backup one and make another copy. And it really is as simple as that. And it doesn't have to be a scary process, and that's what I really want to encourage everyone. Just bite the bullet and go buy yourself an external drive, or go and log into one of these cloud services and just get the job done. You'll really I can't stress enough how many times we've seen this happen. And it really does happen. And if you're listening to us, then you care about your photos, so
that's right.
We just want to help you along. So what are some of the programs and some of the different options that we would suggest?
Help, there are some little helpers, as we call them.
Yes.
You already mentioned Backblaze, I think, before. This is, I think, my favorite cloud backup service. And as you said before, we're talking one way. So Backblaze is clearly a proper backup service. It backs up not only your photos, but your complete computer, which is a lot easier. You don't want to really separate out certain things. It's much easier to say, okay, sign up with Backblaze. You Backblaze, just back up my whole computer And that's it.
And then it's it.
You know, you click a few buttons and it sends everything up to the cloud. It's very secure. It's very affordable, I think.
Yes.
I think it's $60
It's about
currently
60
per year.
Per year, that's right.
Which is not much. And it's unlimited. Whether you know.
Yep. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, whether you back up 2 terabyte or 200 gigabyte, it's the same price.
Yeah.
It does matter.
And the thing that I love about that program too is it is very user friendly. Once you you know, just follow the steps to get yourself an account. And then because my hub is on an external drive, you just go into the settings and click on obviously your external drive is plugged in.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just click that's what you want to include in your backup.
Correct.
And the wonderful thing about Backblaze too is as soon as you open up your computer, it's running in the background.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about that backup because if I have my external drive connected, it's backing up. Yeah. So if I'm working on those the different photos or doing something in that, it's automatically backing up, and it has historical versions there. So you can really sort of set it and forget it. Yeah, which is a great option.
Yeah. But that's also, which is why we recommend to have a review at least annually, and to go in, log in, make sure it's all there, maybe try to restore a file or two, just to be on the safe side. It costs you, 10 minutes once a year. It's not too much. So, that's why we say do these reviews and double check from time to time, because there are always reasons things can go wrong.
Absolutely.
And it can, for whatever reason, it shouldn't. But, as we said, tech can fail.
Yeah, which is why we have 3. Yeah. This is why it's a 3 to
so make sure it works.
1. Yep.
So this is one, I've just recently started to use Acronis, especially on Windows computers, but it also works on Macs. And what I liked about that was it guides you through the backup. So you can say, okay, I want to back up my internal hard drive to an external hard drive. And it guides you through it. You click a few buttons. It's very user-friendly. At the same time, if you choose to, you can also back up to the cloud. So it covers, in sort of almost one go, it covers the 2,
Fabulous.
One off-site, one on an external drive. Plus, on top of that, it can back up your phone.
Wow.
Even wirelessly, so you don't even have to plug in your phone. And I've tested it with iPhones and Android phones. It works a treat.
Great.
I was really impressed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I haven't used that program, so I'm not familiar with that one.
It's covering you. It offers you the whole 3-2-1 in one tool. Depending on how much data you have to back up, though, it can be more expensive than Backblaze, because Acronis is not unlimited in the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got sort of different packages.
You buy different amounts.
Yeah, with the basic plan, I think you get only 250 gigabytes. Okay. Which is not much. No. We're dealing with photo libraries that are bigger than that.
Yeah, we can have terabytes full.
Yeah, but it might be a good option for you guys to check out. And either of these, and in general software, you can trial it for free for 2 weeks, sometimes even a month.
Yep.
So, just test things, have a look.
Yeah.
Try that.
And just be mindful also that these things can take a while to upload the very first one. So with Backblaze, I know we've talked about this in previous episodes as well, but it might take the entire trial period just to get that file up there. If you've got and obviously upload speed is slower than download speed. And here in Australia, we don't have it as good as you guys in the States or other parts of the world, but we have very slow upload speed.
can be extremely slow.
Yes. So, but you can still see what data's going up there, and then log in and see what it's it's active, and you can see what's coming through, and then it gives you a status as to how much total amount of data you've identified as the upload, and then it can give you a status update. So, and
even it even sends you reminders if you haven't turned on your computer in a month. Backblaze, for example, will send you an email that your drive hasn't been backed up in 20 days, and send you reminders. So it's good. It's well worth any of them, really.
Definitely.
So what else have we got there on our list?
So we've got some of the programs that you may need to just plug your phone in and get the photos from the phone. So maybe you're not going to use an app or a cloud-based service to get your photos from your phone. You may just plug into something. So that could be as simple as if you've got a Mac or something like that, you can just use image capture, which is a program that comes with Macs. You could use software, third-party software like iMazing, which we've talked about before, where you can plug in and you can then see the photos and then bring them down off your phone and put them straight onto either the computer or an external hard drive. Something like that.
Something like that. Another one for Windows people is, again, that's to back up the whole computer, is called file history. And that comes with any Windows computer. That's there for you to use for free. All you need is an external drive and set up file history, and it will back it up to that external drive.
As we do with Macs for Time Machine.
Correct. Same thing.
Exactly. Another program that I've used, which is what I use when I do my external drive to external drive as a backup, is I use this software called Super Duper, and it really does a whole range of things, but I simply use it as a mirroring. So it mirrors what is on one drive and puts it straight onto the other. So if I've made changes to photos, I've done work on them or imported new photos throughout the month, then when I have the two drives plugged into my computer at the same time, the software that is sitting on my computer, it runs the backup that brings those photos, mirrors it across. So if I have maybe added 88 new photos, and I have also removed maybe 20 other photos, or I've added some bit of keywording, or I've done some changes, it just looks for those changes. Once it's done the main copy across and the mirroring, it just literally looks for the files that have changed and adds them. So you don't have to do a copy paste or something like that.
No, don't do that.
Which we do not recommend. So look out for that software, Super Duper.
It's really good. I've started to use it too.
Yeah.
For the weekly backup.
But you're saying the Acronis is the same, does the same thing? Does it do that?
Yes, it pretty much does the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has a mirroring feature.
Acronis has a whole lot of different settings and features. You can automate things. You can, exclude things that you don't want to back up. You can be very, very selective, and you can schedule the things. I don't do that, but you can leave the backup drive plugged into your computer at all times.
Right.
And depending on how you set the backup up, it constantly backs up, like Backblaze does to the cloud.
Yes.
So depending on your settings, that works with Time Machine as well. Some people have plugged that in all the time.
Yep.
And it just runs backup after backup. But as you say, it's not backing up everything every time. That's just the initial one. Yeah. And then you can choose, for example, with Acronis, you can choose to say, I want a full backup for the first time, the initial one. And then every 5th backup, for example, or you can say every 10th backup. I wanted to do another full, fresh, new backup. And in between, it only does what you just said, what has changed.
Right. Okay.
But like every fifth time, I sort of want to start from scratch and do a new full backup. So you can change that all in the settings.
Yeah, okay.
It's quite self-explanatory. You just go through, you tick boxes, and it explains things really well. So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And that's what we talk, what we mean with backing up. We're not talking copy-paste, which a lot of people do, which takes time and it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you've changed, and you don't know. There's just no way you could do that. And really, as soon as you think you have to do that kind of stuff, that's where people just go, it's too hard and it's too complicated or whatever. So
yeah. So yeah.
So the other thing that we just want to mention as your little backup helpers could be something like Dropbox. So we're talking about maybe something that is on your phone as some software that brings your photos from your phone and puts it somewhere else. It may not necessarily just be in the cloud. It may also bring it over to a computer, depending on the settings again that you've got. But that is something like Dropbox, OneDrive, Amazon Drive, and we are stressing here, not Google Photos. We just don't love it.
No,
we really don't. It's just we see so many problems with getting photos out of there. It's really not something that we would consider as a backup.
No,
of your photos.
not really.
So please be mindful of that.
We're gonna do an episode soon about Google Photos. We have already talked about it in the past, but they are changing things.
Yep.
And we just want to address that and
keep you up to date. Yeah.
So if you want to go back to previous episodes where we talk in detail, in more detail about this 3-2-1 method and about backing up in general and whatnot. So we have episode 2, which is our first golden rule, number 1 episode. Then we've got episode 19 that would be good possibly to listen about the difference between synchronizing and backing up, because it's not the same thing. And then we also had an episode that was episode 30 where we talked about how to back up a phone without iTunes, because for Mac people iTunes got turned off. Windows people can still use it, but so that's all covered in these episodes. So episodes 2, 19 and 30 might be a good idea to go back to.
Perfect. That's great. So thanks so much for joining us today. I think it's just such a great timely opportunity to talk about backup. So what we would love for you to do is to join us online. We're going to pop up a little post on our social media and just invite you to write down your 3-2-1 mediums that you're using for your backup. And if you haven't got a backup, now is the chance and the opportunity to just use this as a motivation and inspiration to make some of those decisions and do that. Even if you just get the first one, you've got your original, and then you just get one of them, and then we can encourage you. You can be inspired by what other people post and see what some other people are doing. And look, we'd love to hear what other types of programs and creative sort of things out there. There's a lot. This industry and just anything techie changes so quickly.
It does.
So we would love to hear any other programs or different ways that people are doing backup for their photos. Share the love.
Do that. We can't wait to hear from you. And also, it just came to mind, we might have to mention that all the software, the programs and companies that we mentioned, we don't have any affiliation with them. It's just the tools that we use personally and that our clients use mostly. That, as you said, there's others that we haven't mentioned, but these are the ones that we see sort of on a daily basis.
Yep.
and we sort of know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But we don't, we're not making money
Yes.
from that. So just sharing.
Yeah. Just helping steer you in a direction if you
Yeah.
don't have that, which is, hopefully helpful.
And if you come across one that we haven't mentioned, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, and I'm sure others in the Facebook group and over on Instagram also would be more than happy to hear about that.
I'm sure.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Chantal.
Thank you.
And please don't forget to leave us a review, and we always welcome feedback. So you can either email us or just contact us directly or via our social media channels. So thanks for joining us. I am Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I am Chantal from Photos in Order, and we wish you a great 2 weeks until next time, and happy photo organising.
Bye for now.
Bye.